Sing a new song to the Lord, for he has done wonders. Shiru Lashem Shir Chadash, Kniflaot Asa. Hi, I'm Deborah Band, the artist and author of Kabbalat Shabbat, The Grand Unification. And as the book approaches publication in September 2016, just a couple of weeks from now, I'm doing a series of little videos to share some of the wonderful paintings and poetry and thoughts within it. I love Psalm 98, this ecstatic, wild victory poem celebrating Israel's victories won through God's care, God's power manifest on earth. This is one of 8 psalms woven through the Kabbalat Shabbat synagogue liturgy. Altogether, they're understood as a celebration of creation, but I think there was another reason that the Kabbalists included this set. Each of them leads us to perceive God's presence in the world using a different kind of human sense. Psalm 98 is all about perceiving God through the powerful sounds of nature, wind and wave and maybe earthquake, and celebrating God through our own most powerful sounds, singing, shouting, and music. And music is so powerful to us, perhaps the first and most fundamental of our senses. Nearly 30 years ago, I had a dramatic personal experience of this. A few hours after birth, my younger son had to be clapped in NICU with a lung problem, and a few hours later had to be paralyzed by drugs so that he wouldn't fight the rhythm of his respirator. Despite having no voluntary muscle function, he couldn't even blink an eye. He not only recognized the lovely modern Hebrew lullaby that he'd heard in utero every night of his gestation, as I sang it to my elder son, but he still found a way of reacting to it. The instant I began to sing, his heart rate sped up over the first bars of the song, plateaued, and only began to slow again as I sang the last couple of bars, drifting back to normal with the last note. He already knew the song. By the time he could walk, he would push me off the piano bench, and by his early teens had become, and still is, an accomplished and passionate classical pianist. We all lived with Rachmaninoff at midnight for years. And that lullaby? My elder son and his wife now sing it to my newborn granddaughter. In Jewish history, music has been a powerful expression of our national welfare. In the beloved Psalm 137, On the Rivers of Babylon, written about the aftermath of the conquest of Israel by Assyria, the psalmist asks incredulously how the Assyrian army marching the Levites away to exile could expect them to sing. The huge victory frieze I'm showing you, which is in the British Museum, this is just a detail, illustrates that very event. This is from the ruins of Sancherib's palace in the Assyrian capital of Nineveh, now Iraq, showing how the Israelite priests were led away following the Assyrian rape of the Israelite coastal town Lachish in 701 BCE, playing their instruments. In the background, you see my illumination of the English translation of Psalm 137 from my book, I Will Wake the Dawn, Illuminated Psalms, published by the Jewish Publication Society in 2007. And expressing spiritual emotions in music is a centerpiece of our Shabbat celebrations. The universality of music is the essence of these paintings. The suggestion of musical notation you see floating through the initial words is adapted from Bach's first prelude. Now, Bach was a fervent Lutheran, and Martin Luther was no friend of the Jews, yet his music captures the very order and elegance of the universe. The mosaic paintings that you see show the musical instruments used in the temple, and the mosaic's abstraction of reality expresses the memory of the temple and its music. And we maintain a real-world life for that music. You see the ancient musical instruments, the shofar, horns, drums, flutes, and harps, emerge from the mosaic, presented in a more realistic manner. If you look closely, you can see that the mosaic paintings are edged by bands of black slashed with narrow colored lines. These bands represent the spectral emission lines for the chemical elements prominent in making the instruments: silver, iron, carbon, and calcium. We experience even our most ethereal ideas and pleasures through the mediation of the physical world that we probe through the sciences. You can see little light blue and gold scallops edging the two mosaics. The little painted areas present a pattern of arabesques in heavenly blue and gold, which in every painting in this book allude to the Shefa, the divine energy that flows from the very center of the divine to pervade all of creation. The scallops themselves are surrounded by tiny micrography that presents, in Hebrew and English, the first lines of the 10 poems, all beloved poetry found in the Hebrew Bible, that the classical commentators on the Song of Songs consider to be the 10 great songs to be sung prior to the coming of the Messiah. You'll find a list of all of them in the commentary on these paintings in the book. And can you find the honeybee hidden here? There's much more commentary, incidentally, both on the Psalms and the symbolism of the Illuminations, in my new book, Kabbalat Shabbat, The Grand Unification, that's appearing at the beginning of September. And in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this little taste. The book will be available on Amazon and in bookstores, and you can also order it from the webpage you see on the screen. Enjoy!